Hey everybody, it's Ziz here, and welcome to the Ashes Report, where I keep you up to date on the development of Ashes of Creation. For August 2017, we're looking at the combat. That's right, we got a first look in-game of the combat, the combo system. It looks so good, I'm so excited. Also, we got details on PAX. There's gonna be live streams. They're doing daily video updates where the booth's gonna be at. Tons of information there. Also in this stream, they revealed some UI details, skill icons. We got that and a whole bunch more right now. Now, the first thing we gotta talk about is the combat, and it looks so amazing. Like, truly, honestly, I think it looks great. The animations are super smooth, and there's no like jittery, choppiness or anything. And going from one skill to the next looks really smooth and awesome, which every game doesn't pull off, right? We get spoiled by games like World of Warcraft that have been out forever, and of course it's supposed to be smooth and awesome, but this actually looks really great, and they've only been working on it for just a few months. On top of that, the spell effects look great. They're not too crazy, not overly flashy. Sometimes games have crazy, spell effects take up the whole screen, and then you get 4, 5, 10, 20 people, and it's just like a crazy looking disco party from the 70s. This isn't doing that, but it still does have some really awesome, great looking spell effects. I mean, looking just at like the earthquake one, where you throw that down, the whole screen is shaking. I mean, it really gets me excited to want to play combat, to want to be involved. It looks and feels like it's going to be visceral and interesting, and you can see some other things besides just the character and the combat that they're doing. But just looking at the game as a whole, this is the first time we got to see in-game the arena that they showed, that they built. They added some more stuff to it. There's like lattices over the top with tarp things, and just it looks wonderful, right? I mean, can we just say it looks great? And I'm super excited to see it. Not only does it look great, when they blow up that obelisk thing, remember, that's part of the way the arena system is going to work, is control points, and you don't just stand in like a circle and it magically changes to your side. You actually have to destroy it, which I think is really cool, because normally you just stand there and it's boring. Well, now you got to actually do something. You got to use your abilities. Someone could come up behind you while you're doing that. You got to make the decision. Are you going to attack the person that comes up, or maybe you're really close to taking down that obelisk, so maybe you just destroy it really quick to get it for your side, and then you're getting points while you're fighting the other person. And it looked really great when it blew up to all the chunks and the parts that flew off of it and stuff. I'm wondering if that's going to be what it looks like during sieges, when you blow stuff up, when you got the walls and everything. Now, it wasn't perfect. After it blew up, you got these giant chunks of rock and stone all over the place, and they just kind of disappear. I don't know what they're going to do there, if it's possible to leave them in the world, if they work as like physics objects. If you run into them, that would add a cool dynamic to the game, but that makes it harder on performance and can slow down, performance and stuff, especially in sieges with a lot of people. But it just looks great, right? It looks awesome with it blowing up and the combat and everything. More than that, even if you look towards the bottom of the screen, there's the bar that keeps going across, and kind of looks like a cast bar you'd see in other games. But you can see there's that little part in there where it's like a red spot, and it moves around. And then if you look really close, I don't know if you can see it in this video, I'll have a link to the official video from the live stream down below if you want to watch the whole thing. But you can see where the person who's playing, where they're clicking the button trying to activate that combo. So as you're casting, the bar goes along, you have to hit the button right in that little window. Now, it might look like it's kind of easy, right? Sitting back as, third person, you're like, oh yeah, just click the button right there and click the button right there, and yeah, it's really easy. But when you are in combat, when you are fighting people, when you're being stunned, when you're being CC'd, you're trying to dodge, you're trying to get away from people, you're trying to stop their, counter them, and all this stuff that's going on, right? That is going to be a really interesting, awesome mechanic on top of what we're used to in games. And you still have people now in 2017 standing in fire, right? And so you have these people who are still standing in fire, and they can't even move out of a giant thing of fire. On top of that, now you're adding a whole new layer of making sure you hit your skills and you're comboing properly. And this is really great because it adds a whole layer of skill, right? There's a whole layer of skill cap on top of that, where if you're a good player and you can time those right every time, while you're doing everything else, while you're moving around, while you're CCing, while you're executing, right? All that stuff at the right time on top of your combos are really going to set people apart and show the good players from from the bad. Now, what I hope is that though that little red bar doesn't stay the same every time, right? Hopefully it moves. So maybe depending on what who you're attacking, right? Maybe you're attacking somebody who's stunned or knocked down. Maybe that red bar gets really big, so it's super easy to combo because they're CC'd. But what if they're dodging, right? Or what if they have some sort of buff where it makes them faster or they dodge? Maybe that bar gets really small, so it's really hard to combo on them because of what the other player is doing, right? The environment around you. Also, you could add on top of things like that where it's that bar doesn't stay the same every time, right? If every single time you use your regular attack, that bar is at the, the last 3/4 of it, that's just going to be a muscle memory, right? That's just going to be a timing thing, which we kind of already have. You already have combos where you press 2 and then you press 3 and then you press 4. But if that timing window, if that can move around a little bit, that would add on top of it, keeping you interested. You have to stay focused even though you're doing the same thing. But if that stuff moves around, that could be even better. We don't know if it does that yet, but so much awesome stuff. It looks so good. I'm really impressed with what they've been able to do in just a few months of working on this stuff. They didn't want to show us combat in the Kickstarter. Combat didn't look like this before, and they have made, those guys must be working overtime because this looks so good. I'm so excited. Next up, I want to go over the Q&A. There were a few really good questions from this month that stood out to me, so I'm going to go over those with you. Don't forget, the links to everything I talk about will be down in the description below. It'll take you right to the time during the live stream where they go over this. So if you want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth or the sandal man's mouth, click on that stuff below. Now, first we're talking about nodes and castles. And you may remember a castle, there's 5 of them in the world. Guilds can claim them. And then around the castle, there are 3 nodes that are associated to the castle as well. So not only does your guild get a sweet big castle, you also control 3 nodes around it. Now, we also learned that each one of those nodes is going to undergo a siege once per week. So you have the first node, it has a siege in the first week, the second node the second week, the third node the third week, and then you can siege the castle once a month on the 4th week. And they also said that each one of those nodes will have its own siege, and then depending on whether or not you succeed or fail, that is going to affect the defenses of the castle at the end of the month. And so that's really great because it's not just kind of pointless fluff. It's it's really going to be meaningful. If you want to take a castle, you're going to need to be there every week to try to take down those nodes. And same for the defenders. You want to help protect your castle, those nodes are really going to play a part in doing that for you. Another huge bit of information we learned is that there are going to be raids in the water. Water raids, that's right. Someone asked if they're going to be personal watercraft, and they said yes, that are. We kind of already knew that from the Kickstarter. That was one of the stretch goals, was adding more customization and more ships. So we already knew there was going to be watercraft, and they said there's going to be water caravans, which is awesome. You can transport your goods by water. There's also going to be dungeons, they said, above and below water there. And they said there's going to be PvE raids and PvP objectives, but they also said we're kind of in that same realm of raiding. So big, huge things going to be out there. If you played Arcade, there was lots of awesome stuff there. So it looks like this isn't just sort of an afterthought. They're actually putting a lot of time and effort into what's going to happen out on the open seas. So mateys, grab your peg leg. We got some sailing to do. And the last thing I want to go over is someone asked about combat power. Is it going to be from your gear or from your character? And most of us are kind of used probably to the World of Warcraft system, right? Where it's basically all from your gear, and whatever gear you have is kind of 100% depends on how powerful your character is. But some of the new games that are out there, Kickstarters, take some of that away. They say they don't want gear to be important, or maybe it's, a different sort of distribution. Well, Steven Sharif said that it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix between your character stats, your gear stats, and the stats and progression of your skills. So all 3 of those things come together to say how powerful your character is. And obviously how they're going to balance that out is going to be something they tweak over testing, but it's nice that your race will actually make a difference. Now, I know some people are worried about that because they're going to say, well, if you want to be a tank, you have to pick, this class or this race because they have the best stats, or if you want to be a caster, which I understand that, but at the same time, hopefully if the system is made well, it will give us the opportunity to make interesting choices where, yes, you could make a dwarf and maybe have the most life as a tank, but hopefully if it's good, you could also make an elf and be a good dodge tank, or things like that where you can mix and match. Next up, we got some stream reveals, and this is stuff they showed during the stream. Again, again, I'll have a link to this down in the description below. First, they show some Birdmen. These are just going to be some NPCs people get to play to fight against mobs at PAX. Stuff that they modeled, that they skinned, that they've put together themselves already. Also, there were some critters. If anybody watches the stream and know Mr. Bacon, he's one of the developers. He concepted this, he modeled this, he animated this all by himself. One guy did all of it start to finish, which I think it's awesome to have these little critters. It kind of makes the world feel alive. I think they look fun, and I really love the art style where it's not super cartoony, but it's not hyper realistic and boring looking. For example, like Elder Scrolls Online was kind of realistic, but it was boring. It was dull, and it wasn't really that interesting to look at to me. And then Wildstar was crazy and colorful, but it was so kind of unbelievable. You kind of felt like you were playing a cartoon. So I love the way this looks. It really fits in there perfect. It feels to me kind of almost like Guild Wars 2, maybe a little more mature, a little older, you know, a little less flashy, but I love the way that it looks. We also got to look here at the elemental skins. If you remember during the Kickstarter, they had the angelic and the demonic skin, and this is the elemental one. And you got the fire guy here. He kind of looks like the guy from Wonder Woman. What was that guy's name? Ares. He kind of looks like that guy Ares. He's got fire and all this stuff, and then you got the frost one too. And remember, these are totally 100% just cosmetic. They're not going to affect you in any way except cosmetically, and so they look good. People like to do it. I think it's fun, and these look really nice. We also go look at the cleric and ranger posters that are going to be available in the store and at PAX. We also got some models for the sword and shield, and also the bow models, and again, these look really great. They don't look flimsy and small and boring. Sometimes game developers are like, we don't want our game to be a cartoon, so we're going to make it hyper realistic, and the bow is going to be this like little tiny piece of wood, and like, yeah, it might technically be more accurate, but that's boring to look at. When you're looking at my screen, I want it to look cool. We also go look at this caravan model. I think the caravan looks awesome, and I wanted to point it out because I keep seeing this stuff where people always say, oh, they bought their assets and they're not actually developing anything. All this stuff here, they made 100% in-house. They are, did the artwork, the modeling, all the animation stuff, they are doing themselves 100%. And so there may have been some older stuff, maybe in some videos that they would have just bought just because, hey, we're making a video to do Kickstarter, and now they're actually making the game, and we get to see the stuff that's in the game. Now, the best reveal that they had, for me personally, were two things. One is the UI. We got to see a look at the UI for the arena, which I think looks really awesome. It's very smooth, simple. I know some people don't care about UI at all. UI to me is very important because it's on your screen all the time, and I never realized how bad UI could be until I've seen some really bad UI lately. One game I played recently, you would open your inventory and it would take up the entire screen. You would open up your character window just to change one, and it took your entire screen, and like, it was just horrible design from start to finish. Yes, this is only alpha stuff that they're showing. Of course it's going to change, but their initial release, the color palettes, how simple it is, the layout just says to me, we know what we're doing. We've done this before. The best thing I want to look at here, these are just icons, but let's take a moment and let's do a little bit of theory crafting, shall we? We already saw the mage. So the first one looks like, that was probably just their combo ability. Maybe it's like some lightning damage. It looks like there was also a fireball, which you could ground target. It was a ground target AoE fireball. There's a freeze. I think in the video, that's where they like throw their hand in their air and it was like cold over the obelisk, but it didn't freeze it because it wasn't a person. But with this icon, imagine that is like a CC, just freezes them in place. And this last thing is like a weird eyeball in chains. I don't know, maybe it like blinds people so they can't attack you, or maybe it like focuses your target so you do more damage to them, some sort of buff. I don't know. Then we got the ranger ability. Obviously we got a snare. Looks like there's probably some sort of sharp shooting ability. Right in the middle there's that one, like that leaping shot thing. Maybe that's like a leap back. The tank ability, got your regular stuff, a taunt. They have that wall there. They got a chain pull. Looks like a shield charge. And they got this big like fire shield thing. So I don't know if that's a shield blocking maybe elemental damage for people behind you. Would be pretty sweet. And then this weird like dragon eye with a person in the eyeball. I have no idea what that could be. I'm curious to hear what you guys think as well. And then lastly, the cleric abilities probably got some AoE heal stuff going on. There are a couple abilities though, little skill icons where it looks like wings. I wonder if that's a resurrect. And then also there's one where it looks like they're like leaping towards someone. So maybe that's like kind of like Mercy in Overwatch, where you go towards them and you can heal them. So really exciting. I love theory crafting. I love guessing about what it's going to be and how it's going to work. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Next up, we're going to look at the Snapchats that they put out. And if you didn't know, that's right, Intrepid Studio has a Snapchat, and most up-to-date immediate information is actually from Stephen Sharif just walking around the office with his phone saying, hey, what you got going on over there? First, they got this big bad looking Mama Jama. I think that's gonna be like the boss that we get to see in the PAX demo. He looks really cool. He probably breathes fire or something there. Looks pretty awesome. We also got some mage animations and the mage blink, which you can see there, that teleport forward ability. It looks really sweet. Also, they showed the caravan modeling, and remember, this stuff came out before the live stream, so you can see stuff early, you know, a week or two early. Then they showed a really funny video with caravan bugs. And remember, you know, you get a caravan in game and it goes from one place to the other, taking your goods, and you're supposed to be able to just, you know, walk along with it. And it was a pretty fun video showing the physics and how it would hit rocks and just go crazy all over the place. I thought it was really funny. Some people don't understand game development. They just, I don't know, think it just works, but bugs happen. And I love that they show us these funny moments, right? Now, if it's 5 years from now and all they have to show for it are bugs, obviously that'd be a problem, but I love that they show us the stuff. It's funny, it keeps us up to date. Last thing, we got a quick look at a cleric staff animation. We haven't seen that character in action yet, so I just wanted to show it to you here. And again, just like with the mage, I think it looks pretty awesome. Last but certainly not least, I want to talk about PAX and make sure you have all the information, know exactly what's going to be going on. Now, it's going to be at PAX this year. It used to be called PAX Prime, now it's PAX West, which is up in Seattle. That is West Coast time, Pacific time zones, and it's going to be happening September 1st through the 4th. Now, they're going to be doing a ton of stuff. They're going to have daily streams. We're going to be streaming from their booth, people playing the game. They're gonna have developers talking and going over stuff. So check out their twitch.tv/Ashes of Creation. Check that out. They also said they're gonna be doing nightly video recaps. So they're gonna have like a video crew going around capturing stuff. And then every night we should have like a 5 or 6 minute video giving us a recap. Plus they said there might be a big like all-encompassing recap video at the end of the whole thing. Plus they're doing a panel on Sunday from 12 to 1. So noon, afternoon till 1 o'clock. Remember, that is West Coast Pacific time. And that is going to be, of course, on Twitch. It's going to be broadcast. They said it's also going to be on the front page, which is great. It's going to be a big thing. They said there's going to be a big reveal they're going to give. Also, they're going to have a special guest. So tons of awesome stuff that's going to be going on. And it's kind of amazing to me that they are doing so much for PAX this year. I mean, I would understand if next year was crazy because they'd be getting closer to launch and having more of a game. They just announced this game. They just did Kickstarter. We only got like a small part of the game and they are going full out. I mean, they are on the main expo hall. And when I see the main hall, they're like front and center. They're next to Capcom, they're next to Daybreak, they're next to Nintendo. They're straight across from the arena where people are doing PvP and stuff, and they have like the biggest booth size you can get. I mean, they are putting out a lot of money because they are super confident in their game and they want everybody to know about it. We also got to look at the booth, a little preview mock-up. It looks awesome. It has the portal from the game. People get to walk through there, and then they're going to have different stations. There's going to be, remember, the PvP station, and there's also the PvE station they're going to be at. So tons of awesome stuff. All their live streams every day, the recaps at night, the panel on Sunday. It's coming up and we get to see the game in action. I'm just so excited. I can't wait for it. And of course, I'm going to be doing a recap on PAX. I'll probably wait until the end of PAX and just do one big, huge wrap up for it. But I'm going to have a video to that. So if you missed something, don't worry. I got your back. I'll keep you up to date. Well, that's it for this episode. If you want to see more, you can click and see my most recent video. There's also a Just For You video YouTube thinks you might like. Don't forget to share with your friends, subscribe for more content, and like. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.